This is Justin from Experiment of Me, and today I'm going to show you guys how to create an amortization schedule, much like your mortgage company would do. And the reason why we want to create one of these things ourselves is because it provides motivation for us to make bigger payments to principal because of how it shortens the time that the mortgage is. And I find this pretty motivational for me to make bigger payments earlier on because of how it shortens the length of the mortgage. Okay, so for starters, I'm using the spreadsheet program LibreOffice Calcs. You can use Excel if you want, or Google Docs. They all have kind of similar features. So I'm going to jump right into it, and starting off with the number of months for our mortgage. And then I'm going to have the loan amount. And then the interest payment. So this is how much of the payment goes to interest every month. And then I want principal payment. So how much of the monthly payment goes to principal. And then I'm going to put in here an extra payment. Okay, and then we want to figure out some details of the loan, mostly the monthly rate. So I'm going to put in here the original loan amount, and then I want to do the interest rate. And I also want to calculate a monthly interest rate. So I'm going to put that here too. And then we have the term of the loan, so how many years it's going to be, and then we'll calculate our monthly payment. Okay, so for this example, I'm going to use a $200,000 mortgage. And I'm going to say the interest rate for this one is 5%. And then we have to calculate the monthly rate. Okay, so percentages are always in terms of some number over 100. So we're going to take our H2, divide by 100, times, okay, so we're trying to calculate a monthly interest rate. And the way that my bank does this is taking 30 divided by 360. And because most months have, or let's say, some months have 30 days, and the year has about 360 days in the year. So this gives you about 1/12. Not about, it gets you 1/12. So this is how my mortgage company calculates their monthly interest rate. Okay, so for the term, we're going to say this is a 30-year mortgage, so we'll put in 30. Okay, and then we're going to go to calculate the monthly payment, we're going to use the function button. We'll click on function, and then we're going to select financial, and we're going to scroll down to payment, and we're going to click next. Okay, so for the rate, this is the monthly interest rate, so that's going to be cell H3. And then for this is the number of payments. So in this case, it is H4 times 12, because that gets us the number of monthly payments through the whole thing. For the present value of the loan, that's H1, or $200,000. And then for the final value, we're going to pay this thing off, so it's going to go to 0. And we'll say OK. Alright, so this happens to be a negative number. We want a positive number for some of our other calculations, and so I'm just going to put a -1 times this thing, and that gives me a positive number. Okay, so I want to calculate the number of months. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. Okay, so then if I select these three numbers, I can get this to autocomplete as I run this down. So you do that by grabbing the square in the bottom right hand corner, and we'll just drag it down. And I happen to know that a 30-year mortgage times 12 is 360. So we're going to be paying this thing for 360 months. All right, my loan amount in this case happens to be H1. So I'm going to say equals cell H1. My interest payment in this case, it's going to be my monthly interest rate times the loan amount. That's how much is going to go to paying the interest per month. Okay, so we'll say equals, in this case it's this times my monthly rate, which happens to be H3. All right, so H3 needs to stay the same as we auto-populate this down the column. And if you press F4, it puts some dollar signs in front of the H and in front of the 3. That means this number will stay the same even though I'm running we'll call it the function down the column. This will stay H3 no matter what. Okay, so that's my interest payment. For the principal payment, I'm just going to take the monthly payment here and then I'll subtract the interest payment to get my principal payment. So that equals my monthly payment, which is H5, and I'm going to make that a constant, minus my interest payment. Okay, and then for the extra payment, I'm just going to say that's 0 for now. Okay, all right. For month number 2, my loan amount is not the same anymore because I paid some amount to principal, this much. Okay, so I'm going to say this one equals this amount minus my principal payment, which is this, minus any amount that I paid extra to principal. Okay, so that's my amount now, and then I'll calculate the interest the same way. So it's going to take this value times the interest rate, the monthly interest rate, and I can get that by dragging this down, and there is my amount that goes to interest right there. And the principal also is the monthly payment minus the interest payment, and I get that by dragging this down. Okay, so it looks like this thing is all set up correctly, I hope. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all the way across here, and I'm going to drag this down to 360. Okay, and so there is, if I drag this one more, I get to 0. Okay, so we've shown that the way that I've set up this program, it will calculate appropriately. Okay, and it shows that the mortgage will be paid off when we expect. Okay, so now that I have this set up, I want to see what happens when I add extra payments. Okay, because if we put extra towards principal at the beginning, look at how much money is going to interest. If you reduce this principal amount, less money goes to interest payments. Okay, so let's say that on my first month, I was able to pay $500 extra. Okay, so I put $500 extra, and then I don't pay any extra through the life of the mortgage. If we scroll down to the bottom, we can see how much that will save us. Okay, so our mortgage payment is $1,073. Okay, so if I go down to the bottom here, I can see that there's actually 2 months where I'm negative. So I paid it off 2 months early, basically saving myself $2,000 by putting $500 into extra principal at the beginning. Okay. Let's say that we didn't have $500 extra hanging around. I mean, we just bought a house, so you probably have to buy furniture and stuff. Let's say, though, that we can put maybe $200 extra per payment. Oops, not 2,000. Although that would be nice. Let's say that we can do 200 extra, and we do that for 10 years. Okay? So that would be 120 months. If I did that for 2 years, so we're just going to run this down to 120. And let's see how much that saves. Okay, so we turned negative at 293. So 292, let's find out how many years that cut off. So 292 divided by 12. So that's 24 1/3 years. So I've saved like 5 2/3 years, 5 years and 8 months off my mortgage by paying $200 extra in, for 10 years at the beginning. So that's not bad. This is why it helps to create a sheet like this so that you can see what is the difference that I'm making when I'm paying to principal, when I'm making extra payments to principal. So I suggest you make one of these for yourself, and you don't have to do a repetitive amount. Sometimes these amounts change. Maybe you have a month where unexpected expenses come up and you can't put $200 towards it. Maybe you have another month. Maybe you get a tax return or something and you decide to put some of that money towards extra principal, and you do that and it's a big amount, maybe $1,000 or something. So you can enter those amounts in this extra pay column and then scroll down and see what difference that made in your mortgage length. So just saying, this is helpful for me. Hopefully it's helpful for you. Okay,